Chapter 6. It's time to take control. It was 1985 and my wife, Kim, and I were homeless. We were unemployed and had little money left from savings. Our credit cards were exhausted and we lived in an old brown Toyota with reclining seats that served as beds. At the end of a week of sleeping in our car, the harsh reality of who we were, what we were doing, and where we were headed began to sink in. After a friend realized our desperate situation, she offered us a room in her basement. When friends and family were informed of our plight, the first question was always, "Why don't you just get a job?" At first we attempted to explain, but we had a hard time clarifying our reasons to our well-meaning inquisitors. When you're talking to someone who values having a job, it is difficult to explain why you might not want a job. We occasionally earned a few dollars doing a few odd jobs here and there, but we did that only to keep food in our stomachs and gas in our house, our car. I must admit that during moments of deep personal doubt, the idea of a safe, secure job with a paycheck was appealing. But because job security was not what we were looking for, we kept pushing on, living day to day on the brink of the financial abyss. We knew we could always find a safe, secure, high-paying job. Both of us were college graduates with good job skills and a solid work ethic. But we weren't going for job security. We were going for financial freedom. By 1989, we were millionaires. I often hear people say, "It takes money to make money." That's BS. And I don't mean a Bachelor of Science degree. Our journey from homelessness to being millionaires in 4 years, and then on to genuine financial freedom in another 5 years, did not take money. We had no money when we started. In fact, we were in debt and nobody gave us anything along the way, either. It also does not take a good formal education. A college education is important for traditional professions, but not for people looking to build wealth. If it doesn't take money to make money, and it doesn't take a formal education to learn how to become financially free, then what does it take? It takes a dream, a 27 lot of determination, a willingness to learn quickly, and an understanding of which sector of the cash flow quadrant you're operating in. Hard work will not make you rich. There is this strange idea in our culture that says, if you work really hard, you'll be okay. What a pile of baloney. And what's so tragic about it is that most people have been brainwashed to believe it, and they do believe it. Even though we're all surrounded by tons of evidence to the contrary. What evidence? Just look around you. Do you know anyone who has worked really hard his entire life, only to end up living a life that hovers just above or just below the dignity and heartbreak called subsistence level? Of course you do. We all do. The world is full of people who work hard and are most definitely not okay. And perhaps the worst part about it is that many of these unfortunates come to the conclusion that it was their fault. Their personal failing. They did all the right things, right? But it still didn't work. Maybe they just didn't try hard enough, or didn't get the lucky breaks. Maybe they were just not cut out for success. Nonsense. The problem is that the hard work myth is just that, a myth. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that building wealth and financial freedom doesn't take hard work. It does, and lots of it. I hope you're not naive enough to believe the idiots who will tell you they can show a way to wealth that's easy, that's quick, or that's painless. Because if you are, I know a bridge you can buy real cheap and an entire system of subprime mortgages and credit default swaps that might be just right for you. No, it takes hard work, all right. The question is, hard work doing what? I can already hear you thinking, doing what? Making money, of course, but not so fast, because here's the cold, hard truth lurking behind that sad error of our culture's thinking: working hard at making money will never create wealth. People who work for income work harder and harder, only to be taxed more and more. Forget working hard at making money, all you'll do is spend it, and then have to work hard all over again. You might be asking, okay, so what do I do? You take control. Take control of what? After all, most things in life you cannot control, no matter how hard you try. You can't control the market. You can't control employees. You can't control the economy. What can you control? You can control the source of your income. 28. The problem: building a business is the way most of the very rich became rich. Bill Gates built Microsoft. Michael Dell created Dell computers in his dormitory room. Still, historically, there have been very, very few people who have truly lived in the B quadrant. The B quadrant is the best place to begin generating genuine wealth, but at the same, there are some barriers to entry that have kept most people out. For one thing, most people don't have the cash it takes to start their own business. Today it costs an average of $5 million to start your own business. And for another thing, building your own business from scratch remains the riskiest of all ways to become rich. The failure rate for new businesses is about 90% in the first 5 years, and if your new venture fails, guess who just lost $5 million? In my early years of starting businesses, I failed twice, and while it never pushed me into bankruptcy, and I never got any government bailouts, it did cost me millions of dollars. Typically, when you start your own business, you have to make sure your rent, utilities, and the rest of your overhead are paid, your employees are paid, and your suppliers are paid, or you're out of business. So guess who doesn't get paid? You. In the course of starting a new business, and I'm talking here about a successful business, I can easily go 5 to 10 years without taking a paycheck. Remember Kim and me sleeping in our beat-up Toyota? It wasn't fun. We could have taken jobs that would have immediately put a roof over our heads, but as miserable as it was, and believe me, it was, we chose homelessness over employment because we believed in our dream of being business owners and living in the B quadrant. Most people do not have the mental, emotional, physical, or financial stamina to handle these conditions. It can be brutal, and usually is. What about a franchise? A franchise takes a great part of the risk out of it. With an established franchise like McDonald's or Subway, your odds of success improve significantly, and a lot of the groundwork is done for you. But you're still stuck with problem number one. You have to come up with the cash. The cost of purchasing one of the better-known franchises can range from $100,000 to $1.5 million or even more, and that's just for the rights to the franchise. Then there are monthly payments to headquarters for training, advertising, and support. And even all this support is still no guarantee of great wealth. Many times a person must continue to pay money to the franchisor or headquarters, even when his or her personal franchise is losing money. Even if you are one of those who succeeds at a franchise, chances are very good that you still won't make any money yourself for the first few years. And 1 in 3 franchises eventually go broke. When my poor dad was 50 years old, he had the temerity to run for governor of Hawaii, and the incumbent he was running against happened to be his boss. Not only did he lose the election, but his boss fired him and told him he'd never work in 29 Hawaii again. He took all his savings and used it to buy a popular franchise, one that was billed as a never-lose franchise. The franchise that couldn't lose lost, and so did my dad. In fact, he lost everything. In theory, a franchise is a great idea, but in reality, it's a gamble where you have to pony up a fortune just to sidle up to the table and play. The power of passive income. Have you ever used one of those spring-loaded water faucets that some public restrooms install to save water? When you turn the water on, you have to hold the faucet there, because when you let go, it bounces back to the off position. Most people's income source works just like that faucet. You get a little money flowing, and then when you let go, it bounces back to off. You can never build freedom that way. What you want is a money faucet that you can let go of once you've turned it on, because it stays on by itself. It's not just about having income today, tomorrow, and next week. It's about securing your income in perpetuity. This is passive income, also known as residual income that continues coming in, over and over, long after you finished expending the effort and capital it took to create the source of the income. Shifting yourself into the B quadrant is a strong step in that direction. But not all businesses will create passive income. If you own a restaurant, you earn income only when you prepare and sell a meal. If your business fixes air conditioners, you earn income only when you provide that service. Even high-salaried doctors and lawyers earn money only when they see patients or clients. If no patients or clients require their knowledge and services in a particular week, the income faucet springs shut again and there's no money coming in that week. What most people need is an avenue to create passive income. Knowing this, Donald Trump and I teamed up to evaluate the many kinds of business structures that can create passive income, and published our results in a book, We Want You to Be Rich. And by the way, that's not just a book title. We do want you to be rich. Wealth is not a zero-sum game. It's not like if you become rich, then you're taking it away from me, or Donald, or anyone else. This is an astonishing and abundant world we live in, and there is way more than enough energy, material, ingenuity, creativity, and ambition to allow every human being on the planet to be wealthy. So what did we discover? We found that one business model stood out from the rest. This particular business model creates passive income, but requires relatively little cash investment to start up. It has very low overhead, and can be operated on a flexible part-time basis until it generates enough cash flow for the entrepreneur to transition out of his current full-time job. That business model is called network marketing, and it's what the rest of this book is all about. About 30 Part 2 1 Business 8 Wealth Building Assets 8 Reasons Network Marketing Can Secure Your Future